Hello everyone, and welcome to another sketchbook flip through. I'm going to be showing you some of my older art school sketchbooks today, and I've got 4 of them here, so this flip through will be a little bit curated, just so that this video doesn't get horrendously long. So I hope you enjoy. We'll have full sketchbook flip throughs later, because I'm pretty close to finishing up some current sketchbooks, and those will be pretty cool. But for these ones, there's a few things I want to show you, so let's take a look. So all of these books are from 2014 and 2015, so that's roughly first, second, and third year of art school, kind of combined, mostly second and third. So this is the earliest sketchbook here, and when I did this page, I remember being sort of lost with my art, not in I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just felt like my hands weren't at the same level as my brain, and this happens quite a lot. And whenever I feel like that, I always make sure to do some studies from reference, either from reference I take myself, which I do most of the time now, or just from Google or Tumblr or whatever strikes my fancy. I find that studying from life or from photographs is always the best way to learn, and it's also a great break for your brain when you want to do something with your hands but you're not feeling very creative. It helps you learn and gives you something to do. This sketchbook here is also the first time that I really tried out gouache, and prior to this I had mostly been pencil and I painted digitally, but here I was trying out some more graphic flat gouache techniques, and I started really liking this paint around this time in 2014. I also did Inktober, I think, for the first year this year in this book, and these are just some of the sketches that I liked. I find that figure drawing for me is always hit or miss. I find that there's a lot of drawings I've done in the past that I really like, and oftentimes these are the more simplified ones, when I'm not trying to be too fancy, but instead just focusing on making an iconic shape, you know, a nice profile, and an interesting costume design. I really love drawing people in big winter coats. I think that's probably just because I live in Canada. Here's a couple more Inktober drawings. I like looking through old sketchbooks, which is part of the reason that I keep them, but it jogs your memory as to what you were interested then, and also gives you ideas if you need ideas for new paintings at the present moment. Sometimes there's little tidbits in your old sketchbooks that will really inspire you. I remember when I drew this drawing, I was watching a lot of Legend of Korra, so the costume kind of looks like Korra's in that animated series. Here. And I was also reading a lot of Hellboy, and one of the series has sort of this Naga creature in it, and I really liked her design, and it was on my mind, and seeing this sketchbook reminds me of what I was interested in. Here's another example of me trying out gouache for one of the first times, really. I was still very new to the medium, and it also reacts kind of strangely with this moleskin paper because it's so smooth, but going through these old moleskin sketchbooks reminds me how much I actually do like the paper, especially for drawing. Now, this sketchbook here is a pretty good example to talk about paper quality and how it can make a difference in your sketching. If you don't like the paper you're drawing on, I find overall the art you make is worse, just because the paper's fighting you, and so it's worth it to invest in higher quality sketchbooks if you're the kind of person who has to enjoy the texture of the paper you're drawing on. If you don't care, then power to you. But this sketchbook here, I remember I didn't quite like the paper. It was just one I had lying around and I used it anyway. But I find that in the end, the drawings that I did on paper from different sources and then glued in were better than the ones that I did in the actual book. So just show you a few pencil crayon drawing here. I did these with Prismacolor pencil crayons on toned paper from Strathmore, and I actually really like this technique. It's nice to start with a medium ground for your sketching. So this is just one of my Dragon Age characters. This is H.R. Giger. I think it was his birthday or something, and that's why a lot of us at art school were drawing him. Here are a couple sketches that I did at the Dinosaur Museum. That's a Triceratops from A Stranger View, and this is a Gryposaurus. And I did a few pencil crayon pieces of Ellen Ripley from the Alien series as well. We were working on horror animations in our animation class this year, and what can I say, I had Alien on the mind. I did a lot of these while sitting in animation class because our lectures were quite long, so I couldn't help but doodle. And then here's just a storyboard of one of the simple animations we did. We had to do a bounce animation, but I changed the project to suit my tastes, and I did it about dinosaurs and the asteroid, which bounced off his head in the end of the animation. So this sketchbook here is from February 2015 to April 2015, so about 2 years ago. Here are just some sketches from the Dinosaur Museum. This was a pencil crayon drawing that I did on top of a colored gouache background. This is a really nice thing that I like to do when I know I'm going to be drawing out of the house. I will prepare a page with a medium ground. I like gouache because it's easy to draw on. The texture is very nice. And I think it really elevates your drawings and makes it more fun to do your drawings than doing it on a blank white paper. These are just some alien kind of creatures in ballpoint pen and marker. I think this sketchbook has a lot of ballpoint pen in it. These are some drawings from life from the Calgary Zoo. These are ibis and spoonbill. And here's some Komodo dragons as well. The Komodo dragons at this point were really young. They were baby Komodo dragons, and I got the privilege of seeing them grow up a little bit over the years. Here's one of my first big paleoart drawings. You can tell that it's much more stylized than I do now. But this was when I was first starting to figure out anatomy and first trying to start to study it. And I had a long way to go, but this one still turned out pretty nicely, I think. These are just some magazine clippings. These drawings I drew from a model dinosaur that I have. It's a great way to figure out different angles, like above. You can also make your own models, but buying them is definitely faster. Here are more sketches from the zoo. Again, just in ballpoint pen. Some dromaeosaur type dinosaurs. More dinosaurs. You can guess that I rather like dinosaurs. Even back now, this is about 2 years ago still, I was just starting to get very interested in them and starting to try and figure out how best to draw them. I still don't think I'm there. It's a lifelong process of learning, but this sketchbook is sort of the beginning of that, that sort of intense examination. So here I started an actual painting that was going to be specifically including lots of Deinonychus, or Deinonychus, however you want to stress that. And I was drawing the Deinonychus skeleton and skull and really trying to make sure that my dinosaurs were as accurate as I could get them at my particular skill level. So I did this sort of a study page because I was going to have adults and I was going to have a baby as well. So I wanted to figure out what they might have looked like. And this sketchbook here is from April to July of 2015. So a fairly small window. I guess I was very productive. Just a pencil sketch here of a selkie. I wrote a short story about a selkie once, and I never really finished it up to a level of polish that I liked, but they've been a creature that I've really enjoyed drawing and writing about for a long time. Here are some charcoal drawings that I did at the zoo on just some craft paper. I don't really like charcoal or Conte. I find it's very smudgy, and I don't like that look, and I don't like the feeling of it, and I try it out every little once and then because it's such a classical medium, but kind of drives me up the wall. To each their own. Here's the beginning of a fun series that I really liked doing. What I did was I picked a few colors of gouache and created little animal icons with only those colors. So these are really small, they're about an inch each, but they're all hand painted, and a lot of these you can pick up on my Redbubble as stickers still, because I just think they turned out really well and they really lend themselves to stickers as a format. So if you check out my Redbubble, which is Thoughts Up North on Redbubble, you can find these stickers and stick them on things that you like. This was really fun, and I'm glad that I did it because it gave me a body of work that I was ready to put on the internet as merchandise. Here's just some psittacosaurs. Here's a drawing on toned paper of a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. I've drawn the skeleton multiple times, and I think this drawing is one of the best that I've actually done of it. It's not mounted anymore, so I have the drawings to remember it by. This is a Procerolophus, and a drawing of a Smilodon. Some sketches of geese, and some studies by Charles R. Knight. He's an incredible paleoartist, and you can learn a lot by doing studies of other artists' work, just for your own benefit. Here are some zoo sketches that I did on a prepared gouache background that I made sort of a peach color. And around this time, Mad Max Fury Road came out, and I saw it in the theater multiple times, and I absolutely loved it. And I thought the energy in the film was so good, and it inspired me to draw in sort of a different style that was really fun. Some more Mad Max drawings. Around this time I also watched the first Mad Max and the other two as well. I really like the first one. It's very bizarre. And just some more Mad Max Fury Road little paintings. I really like using 1 or 2 layers of watercolor in these regular moleskin sketchbooks. I think it gives a really nice finish. And these are more Mad Max paintings. Guess how much I liked that movie. I still really like it. This page of sketches, I think, turned out really well. Some of them are a bit wonky, but I think some of the images in particular are really good, and maybe some of the better theropods I drew at the time. Here's a portrait of Loka, who was an elderly Komodo dragon at the Calgary Zoo. She actually passed away, I think, last year, just from old age. She was one of the oldest in captivity in the world. Here is a wapiti, or a bull elk in velvet. A few more studies here. More dinosaur studies. More alien art. Aren't you surprised? And some more dinosaurs just to finish it off. Oh, and more alien art. What a shock. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and these 4 sketchbooks from 2014 to 2015. I really like having such a stash of sketchbooks, and I highly recommend that anybody, even if you're drawing on separate pieces of paper still, or you don't like sketchbooks, at least bind your paintings or drawings in folders or put them in sketchbooks, glue them in. just to preserve them for your own future reference. I find that it's a useful learning tool to look back on your own artistic growth, and it's also just really valuable to have a time capsule of your learning. So if you have any suggestions or any questions for me, feel free to write me up a comment or a message. Until the next video, have a great day.